Hey, we're going to start talking about input in processing. Now, some of this stuff, in fact, most of it is pretty specific to processing. That means it's not part of the like full Java. This is part of the skin, but it helps us going forward to learn other things that are part of full Java. And I'll show you later on how to do the same stuff with like full unadulterated Java. For the time being, this is fine, but just know that it's not like the way you do things once you kind of start working with the base Java and Eclipse. So for right now, it's great though, because it makes a lot of this stuff very simple. So you know already that we have this setup function, but we need to say void setup. And some of you are confused as to why we have these parentheses and braces, and this just defines a method. So actually what we're doing in the parlance of full Java is we're overriding a method that is contained elsewhere in the setup or in the processing program. So we're kind of redefining it to suit our purposes. So let's set the size of the window up to be 400 by 400. And then we have this second function that we'll override called draw. And we'll make override, just again means make a specific version of it for yourself so that you can do different things. And let's set the background to black. And then because the draw function is called 60 times a second, if we just draw an ellipse at mouse x and mouse y, and let's say 40 by 40, this will draw, I'm sorry, they're capital X and capital Y. Capital X, capital Y. This will create a very basic, well, not drawing program because we're overwriting the background, but the ellipse will follow the mouse at this point, which is cool. But you don't have to just be stuck using mouse X and mouse Y to reflect the position X and Y of the thing you're drawing. So there's if we just switch mouse X and mouse Y, this will create a circle that sort of goes in the opposite location to some degree of our mouse, which is pretty cool. So we can start creating different things with this. And this example is just meant to show you that you don't have to, that you can be creative with mouse X and mouse Y. For a slightly more interesting example, we'll create two more floats. And this is going to be the, okay, so let's just create the floats first and then I'll explain. So we're going to create a circle X and a circle Y float. In the setup function, we'll give them values. So we'll say circle X. We'll just say a starting position of 50, and the circle Y a starting position of 50. Sure, it doesn't really matter where the starting position is, because then we're going to use the mouse X and mouse Y to basically, this is what's called tweening. So it's like a make it go from one place to another, tween, T-W-E-E-N. So there are different ways to do this equation, but this is a fairly straightforward one. So we'll say the x position of the drawing of the circle is going to equal the current x position times 9 plus the mouse's x position divided by 10. And so what this says is move, so the distance between the mouse x and the circle x, if it's farther away, we'll move it quickly towards the mouse's position, and if it's not quite as far away, we'll move it less quickly towards the mouse's position. And we're going to copy this for the y position also. So circle y is going to equal the current drawn position of the circle but we're going to take it some percentage of the distance between the 2 points. So what this is going to create is a circle that like moves towards the mouse but doesn't follow it precisely. And then we have to change this back so that we can really see, so that mouse X and mouse Y, oh, and this shouldn't be mouse X and mouse Y anymore. We're drawing it at the circle X and circle Y coordinate, which are now related to the mouse's X and Y coordinates, but not exactly the same. And so you'll see this circle that, you know, will move quickly at first and then kind of slow down as it approaches the mouse. And this is how you create kind of smooth motion in most video games and other programs. So this is actually really a core concept that's worth understanding. So if you want to try and unpack some of the parts of that equation, you can. It's not super critical that you understand it right now, but try messing with the numbers. So in fact, let's do that a little bit. So what if we, instead of having that be divided by 10, what if we divide it by 20? Will it move more slowly, more quickly towards the thing? It doesn't really do what we want it to right now. Okay, so how about dividing it by 5? What would that do? And I'll be honest, this is not the specific way that I usually do this equation. Yeah, so I am going to figure this out, and I'll explain it in maybe the next video series.